Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Madden Gaming, and I am back with another reaction video. Today's video is going to be something a little interesting. Got some news on the college football game that's supposed to be coming out next year, I want to say in 2023. So I can't wait to hop into it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
For big news about the upcoming NCAA football game that's dropping next year. EA Sports announced that this game would be returning a year and a half ago, and we've been getting a little bit of news every so many months. Usually there'll be some leaks that surface, but today we've got the biggest news about the upcoming game yet. We've got more info in terms of how the game's being built, game modes, gameplay related stuff, fan favorite features of the game returning, and more. So let's get right into the article from 247 Sports that's been breaking a lot of info about this game over the last year. They've been doing their work and they've been finding a lot of info for us when it's available. It says here, information has been scarce since EA Sports College Football was announced in February of 2021, but development is ramped up entering the final calendar year of what is expected to be nearly a 3-year development process, sources close to the project told 247 Sports this summer. A launch date of July 2023 is circled on the calendar, and the time-consuming process of acquiring photo, video, and audio assets from 130 plus FBS schools to guide game designers is winding down, according to emails obtained at several universities via open records requests filed by 247 Sports. Meanwhile, on-air talent from ESPN are in the process of recording commentary for the game, two sources close to EA Sports confirmed. So that's a nice little tidbit to start off with out the gate. We know that they're going to be involving ESPN with the series once again, and it's good to hear that they're recording commentary and that they're just going to be using the license for the game in general. Why they don't use it for Madden, who knows? They should, but they never have. Before we continue on, if you want to always be up to date on any news surrounding this game up until release, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on because we're going to be getting a lot more news as the months get closer and you don't want to miss any of that info. The biggest hurdle on the horizon, however, is the monstrous task of securing the name, image, and likeness rights of hundreds of players as EA Sports leans into making the game as realistic as possible. Still, there are concerns. What happens if only a small fraction of players agree to be a part of the game? The good news for those clamoring to play as their favorite player is that many college players are just as big, if not bigger, fans of the defunct NCAA football franchise. Now, right off the bat here, I don't know why it said hundreds of players. I'm pretty sure it's more like tens of thousands, but according to this article, and this is kind of just common sense, most of the players want to be a part of the game. They would do it for free, most of them, so I don't think it's really going to be that big of an issue to get people into the game. And even to pay them to be in the game isn't going to be some crazy big number. They said it's expected to be in the mid four figures, so think $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and that's probably for some of the bigger name players. They're not all going to get that much. Now we're going to continue on and talk about some of the game modes and gameplay related stuff that was revealed in this article, but while we're on the topic of college football, let's hear a quick word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings Sports.
Don't skip this. Sorry. Shout out to Draft.
Continuing on with the article here, it says the game is built on the Madden engine. And before we continue on here, I just want to say that this really should not be a surprise to anybody because this is how it was with the old NCAA games. People somehow remember the gameplay on NCAA being better than Madden, and I will admit it did kind of feel that way, but at its core, it was still built off the same game. Sometimes the game speeds would maybe be a little different than Madden, and that would definitely affect the feel of it, but at its core, it was still built off the same base. It says here that EA Sports College Football is built on the Madden engine, but fans should expect tweaks to the gameplay much like previous iterations of the NCAA football franchise in the 2000s and 2010s. The game design, atmosphere, and unique traditions for each school is primarily what EA Sports will lean into for this game. With that said, the game isn't simply a reskin of the Madden game. The playbooks will be much more robust and team-specific too. Remember, the NCAA football franchise, not Madden, was the first to introduce RPO plays in the 2013 version of the game. The team at EA Sports is taking great care of making sure the presentation is uniquely collegiate, which is why the team has spent so much time designing stadiums and implementing assets to differentiate game day atmospheres from school to school. What separated the NCAA football and Madden franchises was the almost romantic focus on the pageantry of college football traditions, and that will continue in the college football franchise. The cover art. EA has not decided how to handle the cover art for its game. Past iterations of NCAA football usually featured one player, usually those who exhausted their eligibility or entered the NFL draft the previous season. Never has EA been allowed to sign a current player due to NCAA rules, but with NIL now legal, the expectation is the company will sign one current player to appear on the cover, sources told 247 Sports. Simply put, whoever emerges as the Heisman Trophy winner or the next sudden superstar this fall might grace the cover of the game in July. Players are smart and already recognize how important this season will be for their program and individually within the game and potentially on the cover. Somebody always jokes about it around the locker room. We got to ball out this year so we can have a 99 rating overall, LSU tight end Jack Beck said. Several fan favorite features expected to return. EA Sports has kept much of the game modes under wraps, but the developer will continue Dynasty and Road to Glory modes, sources said. More modes could be added via downloadable content updates in the fall, winter, and spring. That means legends from college football's past could be included in future updates for an Ultimate Team mode, though that hasn't yet taken shape at EA. The game is also expected to include the return of virtual magazine covers in Dynasty mode, a popular feature among fans. Simulated issues of Sports Illustrated and ESPN the Magazine were featured in the final 11 years of the NCAA football franchise. Now, obviously, Dynasty and Road to Glory had to be included in this. That is one of the biggest things that made NCAA what it was. That and all of the pageantry and atmosphere of college football. That's why the game was so fun. NCAA was definitely more of a game that was geared towards the offline player, in my opinion, whereas Madden over the last decade has definitely been a little more geared to pushing people online. If they're bringing back college football, the offline modes have to deliver, and because Madden has not delivered like that in the last decade, this is their chance to make it up somewhere else. Now, even though here it says that Ultimate Team hasn't been confirmed yet, I think we all know that they're gonna put an Ultimate Team in the game. NCAA 14 had Ultimate Team and it did pretty well, so I just see no reason why they wouldn't also include it in this game. Throwback uniforms and helmet stickers will be included in the game. EA Sports made an effort to include unique helmet stickers for teams in the game and is building a library of throwback uniforms, which are huge hits with fans according to emails between EA Sports and school administrators. Will real coaches be in the game? Coaches have not yet been approached about utilizing their likeness in the game. Such a move is not expected to occur until after EA Sports secures a third party to help sign players. EA Sports is also prepared to not include every scholarship player on the 85-man roster for teams. In fact, it might be impossible to secure every scholarship player's NIL rights before the game's street date, and coupled with the monstrous task of building a true-to-life roster is not logical. What does this mean? The developer is aiming to secure the rights for enough players for a too-deep depth chart, with faux players compromising the rest of the roster. Now, that part might shock a lot of people, but that's something that I fully expected because it's just not realistic to expect tens of thousands of players to get licensed for this game, especially when you think of in college football how much the rosters churn each year, how many players are leaving and how many new players are coming in. So it's not like you're securing the name, image, and likeness for players and then have them for so many years. A lot of these people are going to be out of the game the very next year. And for people that play deep into Dynasty mode, you know after a few years the rosters become completely made up anyway. All in all, most of the stuff we've heard about the game so far sounds pretty good in terms of modes and features. The one area that is probably a little worrisome is that it's being built off of Madden, which is not surprising because that's what they always did in the past, but as Madden has transitioned to different engines and has built more on top of each other year over year, a lot more bugs have become common in the game, and you would have to assume that a lot of that could potentially carry over to NCAA. So that's the one area that is a little worrisome, but if the modes are deep and the atmosphere is good, it should still be a pretty fun game. Now, speaking of NCAA football, I did a video where I scored.
Well, that was a good video. My overall thoughts is I'm just so excited. Cannot wait for this to come out. And what he said about being built on the same engine as Madden, I don't think we should worry too much about it. I know a lot of people say Madden is just done all, it's just bad, but overall I enjoyed the experience of Madden. It could be better. Yes, any game can be better. No game is going to be 100% perfect. But I feel like EA might do good on this one, like they doing in Madden 23. I haven't read the reviews, but from what I've seen, other videos, Madden 23 has been pretty solid. Few bugs, but pretty solid. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy this reaction. Cannot wait for more college football updates to come around. Love every single one of you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction.